are all the criteria of applications. I can get a constructed.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hope my point is clear.
Yes, yes, sir.
It is audible to everyone. Okay. If there is a problem, you please remind me. Dr. Mallika of the Govt City College and also the Telangana State Higher Education Council, my good friend, the chairperson, Professor Imbadi Garu. I think today was the inauguration, he and Professor Parthardi were there. Thanks for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts on teaching public policy. My lecture is going to be on teaching public policy. I'll try to confine myself to about 1 hour and another 15 minutes maximum for a discussion. If you want, I can even reduce my speech and devote more time for a discussion. Basically, I have divided my lecture on teaching public policy, how to teach, because I started teaching public policy as a UGC fellow way back in 1980s, almost 44 years back, at Madras University. There are 4 major components of how to teach public policy. These 4 components alone I will be discussing. The first component is what to teach in public policy, and as a consequence, what not to teach, because we need to understand that what we should not teach, that is more important before we decide on what to teach. The second component is about how to deal with the substantive issues of the course, because I am going to deal with Introduction to Public Policy, one of the courses that has been given to me, where there are 5 units: Introduction, Policy Making Process, Policy Mechanisms, Implementation and Evaluation. How to deal with these 5 substantive issues while teaching. In the process of teaching public policy, the necessity and the compulsion to have a very wide, broader base, reading background particularly, because public administration has undergone a major change. What we read as public administration in 60s and 70s is no longer what we are teaching. In fact, when I graduated from the Madras University, it was taught with a degree of public administration, it was with a degree of public management in 1976-77. So why there is a need to have a wider and a broad understanding of the implications of what public policy is? This is a very important concept which I will be discussing. And finally, the last topic on which I am going to deal with is our ability to relate the theoretical concept with practical examples, particularly in public policy, from different sectors, say education, health, finance, external affairs, trade and commerce, energy. It is not that we will be an expert in each one of these fields. But today when we talk of foreign relations, there is a public policy. When we talk of energy, electricity, there is a public policy. Conducting elections, there is a public policy. Finance, economics, trade and commerce, again there is a public policy. Health, public policy issues are there. Local governance, public policy issues. Urban governance, e-governance, you name it, the government has public policies of. So these 4 components are what we are going to discuss. The first part, what to teach and what not to teach. The subject public policy we are going to teach is not the exclusive domain of public administration. Today, one can say public policy is concerned with broadly political side, because political aspect of decision making. Economics is nothing but feasibility. Economics feasibility of policy decisions, whether a policy is implementable or not. Sociology, the social relevance of a policy. You may talk about demographic policy, population control policy, how socially it is relevant. Public administration, government's administrative aspects of policy implementation. So this is one of the major drawbacks. No policy initiative by the government ever consider administrative viability or feasibility. Finally, use of ICT, information communication technology, because gathering reliable data for policy making and analysis is a prerequisite for a very good policy. Now, these 5 major areas of public policy, mind you, I am not coming into the sectoral policy. When it comes to sectoral policy like health or education or energy or electricity, there are other areas that also come into this. That also comes into play. The word public administration is that they will not be concerned with the state, they will not be concerned with political facts, they will not be concerned with economy, they will be concerned only with bureaucracy implementation. That situation no longer holds true. This is a very important aspect because public policy, for that matter, policy science was a concept which derived by Laswell in 1950s. Early 50s, mid 50s. It taught of policy science, a multidisciplinary approach to governance and administration. That was his basic idea. That this is what politics is, this is what administration is, and when we talk of policy science, it combines everything. Because where do we get these policies from? Policies emerge from the politics. The way political parties promise during elections, and mind you, this is one thing with reference to democracy. I am not talking about countries which are dictatorships, military dictatorships, one party rules, no. I am talking of a multi-party democracy where political parties compete, make all kinds of promises. Some of them can be fulfilled, some of them may not be fulfilled. But from these promises emerge your party manifesto. And when the party comes to power, they say that these are our policy objectives because this is what we say in policy. The major problem is certain approach to public policy is no longer focused on political science or public administration. This is a very peculiar crisis that we in public administration and public management have. It has moved towards economics and data science. You know, if you look at modern governance, not only at the center, even in the state, almost all the states, all the ministries and departments in the center are engaging apprentices, engineers, young engineers who are passing on young postgraduate students from computer science, from economics, even from public administration if they are good enough, to be appointed within the ministry as apprentices to help with policy analysis. So this is a major scope of students of public administration, for policy students. Andhra Pradesh government has done, Telangana government has done, the government at Delhi has done, Tamil Nadu has done, Gujarat is doing. That you have about 150 scholarships being made available for the students to work in the different ministries as quality analysis. What do they do? What does an engineer do? His basic role is to collect the data. So, policy sciences which was once envisaged as part of political and public administration is now shifted permanently towards economics and data science. That is why you have data analytics. Most of the engineers, IT engineers who are in Hyderabad, Hyderabad is a major center for IT. Most of the data engineers are busy working in data analytics. Our approach to public policy teaching should be to make efforts to bring back public policy into public administration domain. It is essential because whenever we talk of public administration, we always see that nobody is giving us respect, nobody is correct. But then we forget one thing. We always look at public administration from cradle to grave. birth certificate to the death certificate, public administration is involved. Everybody is envious of us. People in other disciplines and other professions, they are so envious that wherever you go, there is public administration. Only we don't realize its importance. The reason why we are not realizing is that we are dealing with a different aspect. Public administration cannot be confined to teaching Indian administration and local administration. It has to focus on theory, administrative theory, managerial theory, organizational, social, psychological. It has to deal with public policy and governance. Most important, it has to deal with postmodernism, postmodern public administration. We study this. Whenever we study new public management, whenever we study governance, new public governance, these are postmodern concepts. But postmodernism we feel is more philosophical. We try to relate it with Chatter's Derrida. No need. Postmodernism, which we are studying in public administration, is reflected to the NPM and governance field. We have to focus on it. Our expansion should be towards detail. This development that has taken place should also be reflected in our pedagogy, the way we teach. Structure and functional approach, which we have in, this is the structure of our department, this is cabinet secretary, this is union ministry, this is chief secretary, these are the functions, this is judiciary, you have a Supreme Court, you have a High Court, you have the Royal Court. Structure and function remains constant. The process has undergone change, drastic change. Unless we recognize the changes that are taken place in the process, we will not be able to do justice to the students who are sitting in center. If the students don't come to us, we are made to hear an obsolete information. They simply come to class and learn it. If you are going to give obsolete information that has no value for you. Because that is something which is available today in the internet, by a click of a button in a mobile phone. Whatever information that you are going to give is going to be available through other sources, then what is the role of a teacher? That becomes the question. That is why please don't teach what not to teach. Don't teach the traditional mode of public administration of structure and function. Focus on the process. We discuss it in a very casual way. Let the discussion become most engaged in the classroom. That is what I will say. Because if we cannot relate whatever we teach to the practice, what we see in practice, students are observing. We say that corruption is bad, this is bad, this is not right. But then on road when you are driving a two-wheeler with three people and if a police constable stops, you immediately go 100 rupees and give their case. That is practice. That is practice of administration. To escape from the law and order, you don't mind driving. But what you teach in the classroom, that driver job, morality, we have to relate what we teach to what is in practice so that students will be able to relate themselves to the subject. That is most important. Because to attract and retain the students, public policy and government in public administration offers us a great opportunity because we can relate ourselves to the practice of governance and administration. Now, coming to the substantive aspects of public policy. What is public policy? What is the policy making process? What are the mechanisms involved? What are all the institutions that are involved? What is its implementation? And how will we evaluate a public policy? After that, as I told you, public policy is what an elected government in a democracy is. Promises made to the electorate. People are not fools. As there is a great saying in English, you can fool some people sometimes. You can fool all the people sometimes, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. So people also know when political parties make promises, they also know that certain promises are meant to gain votes, certain promises they may transit. That is that. Second aspect of public policy is what the government chooses to do. It wants to do certain things. It also does not want to do something. See, Robert Merton's analysis of bureaucracy, consequences, which are intended, unintended. That is consequences which we anticipate. This is what we expect of the consequence. There are unanticipated impacts. Similarly, there are policy decisions which the government will not act. They say that so, let us not act on this. This is not going to listen to what is said. In fact, one of the decisions taken by the government with regard to the Manipur violence that has taken is a policy of not doing. This is what somebody has discussed. That government has said that one is how to control, how not to control. You allow things to go because certain things may not be under your control. So, taking decisions and not taking decisions are also policy. How policy objectives are there? One is political party manifesto. Second is the socio-economic condition. How people live, why they live. There has been an evaluation. This year around a record number of 20 new bridges waiting for inauguration collapsed in Bihar. You must have read in the newspapers, heard in the news channels. 20 new bridges that are being built, some of them are in the construction stage, some of them are constructed waiting to be inaugurated by ministers or others. Most of them have collapsed. What was the need for a bridge? Did they announce? They wanted to construct a bridge in a village where there was no river to cross. People were able to use the road. The government thought that let us have a bridge also. So socio-economic conditions and compulsion. What compels the government to take a policy decision? We have an old pension scheme. Then a new pension scheme, NPS, was implemented. And this year, few weeks back, UPS has been announced, Unified Pension Scheme. It is a policy decision of the central government, of the union government. Now, this unified pension scheme is a